4 in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of people believe demons exist. There are unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, and we are here to talk about it. Your portal into UFOs, paranormal, cryptids, the supernatural, the mysterious, the unknown. I see you. This is Beyond the Radar, and this is your host, Humanoid Tom Conway.
Hello, welcome everyone back to another episode of Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news program. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We're also streaming live on UPN or UPRN and YouTube, Facebook page, YouTube page, Instagram, and as well as Beyond the Radar's Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We are also live, so hello everyone out there watching on Roku TV. Check out our archives there, as well as Spotify for past shows. We have a wonderful episode today. As many of you know, I'm a writer as well. In addition to doing this and everything like paranormal, anything weird, if it's weird, I'm going to get my hands on it. So I love doing writing. And when I meet fellow authors, it's always going to hold a special place in my heart, and even more so the ones that write about dark or horror fiction, because it's an art form, and I really am excited. I met Jacob a few months ago, and he's been on the show, friend of the show, obviously you guys know that, and we really had a good discussion about where horror fiction is, where writing is, and just a different type of a different side of me as well comes out when we talk about that, because writing's always going to be my first love. Well, we have today the Frightening Floyds, Jenny and Jacob, wonderful name. Please check them out. Facebook, they have a website. You can find them both on Amazon too as well. That's where I went to stalk, of course, you know how it goes. So without further ado, let me bring on the Floyds, Jenny and Jacob. Hello to both of you. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing excellent. Love the glasses, Jenny. They're great, fantastic. I built you up as a horror writer, and you come on with heart glass. No, I'm kidding. No, it's wonderful. A Kiss shirt too. I mean, can you be in the paranormal and not like Kiss? I mean,
right?
There's a now America, New Orleans, the South. There's a code to paranormal. You have to all like the same things, which is Kiss. You have to be somewhat of an adventurer or have an adventurous spirit. And you also have to open your mind to a certain degree where you might be able to believe certain things. Hello, Nicole. What's up? How are you doing? Lovely guest chiming in. But yeah, guys, no. So I'm so glad you reached out, Jacob, to come back onto the show. You guys both have an open invite anytime to talk about anything you want, and it's a wonderful topic that you bring up with Nightmare Press, and then also Anubis Press as well. That you have. So let me start off by asking: do you, you said you were going to combine them, but is there a different what's the difference between the two? I should say.
Anubis Press was first. It was our imprint for our paranormal nonfiction work. We had shopped around to some other presses and kind of just decided we wanted to do our own thing. And so we wrote, initially it was just going to be ours. And then the more we were in the paranormal community, we started meeting more people and others who wrote books about it, and they were looking for publishers, because a lot of the publishing houses who had taken paranormal nonfiction weren't really taking them anymore. And so we published some of them, and and that was what kind of led to Nightmare Press becoming a horror imprint.
Okay. All right. Excellent answer. And we already have a question, Nicole. I knew she wasn't. Nicole's an author just like us. So, uh, do you find it easy to or hard to get reviews? And looks like that's a challenge for her.
Yeah, there's different sites out there to get reviews. There's one called Booksprout, which we've thought about trying. It is difficult to get reviews. I have found in the years being in this, some people find their right communities and they get a lot of reviews. And of course, bigger publishers, they have access to review outlets. But I don't know. I've found that reviews don't always equal sales necessarily and
Yeah.
exposure. So, I mean, yeah, we want to get them, but we're more interested in finding other promotional avenues and ways to sell the books and put them in readers' hands.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such a good point too, because even on the film and television side, right? The the rating, whether you use Rotten Tomatoes or just general, written reviews, of horror movies are always skewed down. But like some of the best horror movies that I've seen have had absolutely terrible ratings. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And
yeah,
reviews. So, who's to say? I think it's something that you have to have the eye for and the imagination for, and otherwise you're just not going to get it.
yeah. If you're going to get reviews, I know a lot of people focus on trying to get Amazon reviews. Our biggest focus is trying to find legitimate review sites that have a following, as even if they won't put them on Amazon, if they have a platform like a YouTube channel or a blog or something, the
Yeah.
TikTok. Really, what you want is people to see the book and know about the book. Like we'll go to like live events, in person events, and we'll sell all kinds of books, and that doesn't always lead to reviews, but it leads to more people following our pages. It leads to more orders online. So I mean, it's reviews are good, but I think some people focus solely on reviews and not as much on exposure.
Yeah, exactly. And another follow up, doesn't matter what kind of style you write to or genre. I guess for your presses, you only accept dark fiction or horror.
We accept, of course, paranormal nonfiction, and we've actually, on the fiction side of things, expanded beyond just horror and dark fiction. We're taking fantasy and sci-fi
Oh, cool.
and different. And if you look on Nightmare Press, we have a list under submissions what we are looking for. So we're pretty open with a lot of genres.
Okay, great. Maybe check your email. You might have a submission from Nicole. I know she just finished another book as well. And guest starred at Yahoo. I'm sure you'll see that one. And this is the best part about our show. We interact with people. Please comment in the chat. We have our text board number you see scrolling across the screen. Comment your questions. I'm sure the Floyds will answer anything. But Jenny, you just had a book released. Can you tell us about that?
Death and Lipstick is my take on true crime in old Hollywood. And I wanted to explore these famous cases, such as Sharon Tate,
Okay. Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe, uh, just in honor some of the Hollywood Scarlets. You know, it's just it's my personal version of it.
Amazing. And I gotta love the cover too. The cover's fantastic.
Yeah, it's Bride of Frankenstein. Valerie Hobson's one of the
Yeah. But
one of
she's
the
still trying to look right though, and I like that.
yeah.
She's still committed to the, to the to the look.
Right.
Excellent. Um so yeah, what was your so in writing that book, give me a what was your favorite portion of it or something you've learned from doing and researching that one?
Well, when I was writing that book, it took me a little bit.
Okay.
It was hard researching some of it because it seemed repetitive. These are years cases. Um, Sharon Tate was probably the one I enjoyed writing about because of her story and everything that happened. There's a big falling of Charles Manson, and I kind of had my personal view of that, how it needs to stop,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the door, I don't know if you saw this recently. It was on Yahoo News. I wrote about it in the book, of course. It's so for, I think it was 100,000 or 127,000.
Yeah, the door to the house, to Polanski's house where the murder took place, was actually a keepsake. Trent Reznor had it, and
Wow.
then he got rid of it, and someone else bought the house, or bought his old studio, found the door, and sold it. Like, people want this stuff, and I know she was real big on. We've both always kind of been big on stop glorifying Charles Manson kind of thing. A lot of people do that, and this is kind of, we don't really understand why you would.
Yeah. You find more so out west. Now, I believe you guys are Kentucky, right? So more so
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
west is the glorification. At least the people I know were like, he's a nut. But no, there's some parts out there that want to romanticize him, and I agree. I don't get it. I don't get it either.
Yeah.
I just
That's
put
a
in the
weird.
chat the link to Death and Lipstick for you, Jenny. So everybody out there who can see us on all of our streaming platforms, they'll have a link right to that book there. So go out and buy Death and Lipstick. I love a research novel. And you mentioned Marilyn Monroe in there too. Did you
Yes.
touch a little bit on some of the conspiracies about it?
Yes, at first I didn't want to because
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's been done repetitive over and over, but I got to explain my take on it and how I felt about it. For coming from perspective, working in, I've actually worked in a mortuary and seen the worst,
Oh
possible
yeah,
scenario. So
yeah.
I don't think it's a conspiracy of what happened of her, but I share all kinds of views of that in the book.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those topics that always has legs with every generation that comes in after it because, the glitz and the glam, you have that on one hand, you have government stuff on the other hand.
Right.
I can see why people are, really into all of that. And plus, it makes sense. They, JFK are, and his and his brother,
Yeah.
I'm sure they were used to getting what they want, being New England elite. You know what I mean? And then you have this blonde woman who, you know, is so attractive. You know what I mean? I wonder if there was a little gamesmanship going on there, but that's for that's for another discussion in time with all of that one. Um, so let's go, between the veil here a little bit. Um, for anybody listening who is a writer, beginning writer, or wants to be a writer, or any of that, can you talk about your process from why you decided this one to actually get, how did that beginning part go?
Um,
What made you want to write Death and Lipstick?
oh, what made me want to write Death and Lipstick? I don't know. It just came to me one day. I always saw these articles about different celebrities or public figures, and I kind of just wanted to have my take on it, my voice. Uh,
Yeah.
because there's always the same voice, it seems like you read about, like having the same view or this is what I think happened. I wanted to give different perspectives of it. Um, is I don't know. It just came to me. I just wanted to do it, and everybody's always interested in true crime. But I also have some other celebrities that die of a horrible death. The actress Vampira. I'm sure you know who Vampira is.
Yeah.
But I got to share her story in there. But her story's been shared before. But I think she lived an interesting life.
I think you were always kind of tied to this idea because of our Haunts of Hollywood book as well.
Yeah, that's true. I always grew up around antiques and stuff like that. I always like older I just like history in general.
She's always liked old Hollywood.
Yeah.
Old Hollywood.
Let's add that to the list. If you're in the paranormal, you have to have some sort of passion for history too. That's another like check mark on there too, definitely. But I couldn't agree with you more with putting your own take on it, putting your own, 2 cents in, because look, yeah, if something's written about the same way over time, it starts to build that narrative. Now think of like the uneducated reader who picks up a book and was like, "Oh, I want to learn about this." They're only going to learn that one side. You know what I mean? And to be well-rounded or intellectual, you have to at least know what the other side is, or other experiences, or other theories. That's the only way you can come up with the best conclusion to everything. So I'm really, I'm excited, and I'm glad you did that. And it's really motivating for other readers out there, to learn, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Because if you did all the research and you found actually, hey, this is how it was, then that's one thing. But when you give people an alternative viewpoint on it, it just challenges the way people think. And in the end, I think makes us a better reading community too. So that's something that, it really resonated with me on that. You know what I mean? That I'm not going to take what other people have said. I'm going to find out what my own research is, and what does the evidence lead me to believe too. Do you have other books like that?
I'm coming out very soon. Jenny is Strange and Unusual. It's my memoir through the paranormal.
Okay.
It's, the paranormal's always been with me, I feel like, since I was a young child, since I was about 2 or 3. It's about how I got from there to here, basically, and my ties to the paranormal, mysticism, and different things. So.
Yeah. You already got a fan in the title. Love the title.
It's got a really cool cover too.
Oh, I can't wait to see that cover. I mean, part of me geeks out as an author over covers of other people. Like, oh, look at that one. Oh, look at that one. I will call myself out. I have definitely just bought a book because of the what the cover.
I think everybody has. We always look. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but they don't mean that in the literal sense. We're all gonna do that.
Yeah. I mean, look who you're talking to. Come on. Of course I've bought a book based off the cover.
We all have covers on our books.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not talking about like 11th grade algebra where you have like a calculator on it and that's it. Yeah. It might be blue cover. You know what I mean? We're talking about real in-depth graphic work art, and some of them are wild. The intricacies in the design on them are really, really cool. I do appreciate that, and have respect for all of the graphic designers for that matter. But in your paranormal journey, Jenny, have you, would you consider yourself a medium or psychic? Have you had experiences, anything like that?
Well, yes. I don't know what I am technically. It just was a parapsychologist.
Parapsychologist.
I can't say it. Sorry, I get tongue tied. They said I was an empath, so I'll go with that.
Okay. So you can feel if there's maybe entities around you.
Yeah, it usually happens like that.
Okay. And can you decipher between like, oh, it's a lighter spirit or it's a lower vibrational, like darker spirit?
Yeah. You can,
cool.
like if somebody is, angry or mad, I can feel, it's just very I'm an empath.
Yeah. So when you have do you actively work on maintaining your vibration? Because that's a part of it, is like being at a higher elevation of it. Are you just naturally like that, or do you meditate? Do you practice anything like that?
It's been with me since I was a little girl. Always been a happy, bubbly person. So I've been told my aura is very bright. So by another well-known psychic in Kentucky. So I don't know. I'm just Jenny.
You're like, I don't know how, but it just happens.
We're like Lydia Dietz.
Yeah, and that's what and I'm sure Nicole, who is a psychic seer, who can attest to this too, is that when you have the bright aura, your vibration is radiating higher, which means you
Right.
are more likely. And the way I liken it, you know what I mean, is like, think of like, all right, you have like a Coke or a Pepsi can and you're in the dark, right, in a room, and there's a
Right.
dimmer switch. People that raise their vibration, imagine turning that knob and it's a little darker, or it's a little lighter. You can see the outline of the can. So something's there. Some people, like psychics and mediums, have it maybe all the way up where they can know it's a can. And then when you turn it fully on, you're like, oh, I can interact with it. I can go up and take a drink from it. So
Right.
that's where, that's the way I try to liken it to people who think, oh, I'm psychic or not. It's like, well, it's not a all or nothing thing to me. It's levels, you know what I mean? And some are and some aren't. Unfortunately, I would love to be in that level. I've tried things, I do meditate. I do have to practice. You know what I mean? I meditate, I do, and I feel I can get to a certain level, but I feel maybe I just started off at a lower plane, you know what I mean, and had to catch up that way. So, I really I appreciate what you've had from the beginning, you know what I mean, and just imagine if you did practice with it or anything like that, what could what could be further, you know what I mean, down the line with it. Because that would be a wonderful place. Imagine if you can connect to the other side and have them tell you stories and you just write it. Like, imagine that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. So, with your so with the memoir, what you got, um, what do you hope to achieve by putting that one out there? Let me say that.
I want to connect with non-believers.
Mhm.
Anybody. I want to connect to non-paranormal people who believe in paranormal or just need something to read about staying true to yourself and getting through with what you are and accept who you are.
Oh, it's a beautiful message. It's a beautiful message. Stay true to who you are and allow yourself to feel things, right?
Yeah.
That's that is a great message. That's I think something under all of us as writers, we want to inspire thinking. You know what I mean? But staying true to yourself, it's a wonderful message, especially in this genre when a lot of times people are told, "Oh, that's not real. You don't know that." Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? You can't prove it. This, that, and the other thing. Um, uh, there's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of self doubt, I should say, too, in this. So no, it's a wonderful message. Jacob, do you have any projects that you're currently working on?
Yeah, I'm working on publishing and editing some books. So I got
A
several.
lot.
Got several.
Cool.
I might actually put out my own book that I wrote like last year and finish and never published.
Hopefully.
But
Okay.
it's just a real weird book. It's I've thought about not even publishing it because it's so weird and disjointed and disconnected. I don't know, but I'm going to do it anyway, probably.
Yeah, I mean, everything happens for a reason. So if you publish it, it was meant to be published at the time it was published.
Yeah, pretty much.
I saw on your did you accept a new author into Nightmare Press?
Yeah, we've accepted several new authors lately. The one I just shared today, that was someone we signed, VL Jones. We signed her a while back, but instead of just introducing everyone as they got signed, I decided to space it out and stagger it when their projects were starting to be edited and worked on and such. So she's next in line to be edited by me. I'm currently working on one called American Mystic by Coyote Wallace, which is a kind of it's a magical realism told from a gonzo journalist perspective. So it's a real interesting story. But hers is called Spirit Within. It's about a detective who can speak to spirits, essentially. So
Wow. Wow. Um, yeah, there you go. I got your next lead right here. For Nicole. You'll have one a month for her at 20. That's the rate she's going at.
that's all
Love you,
right.
Nicole.
But
So you have more
catalog you
people.
can build, the better.
Yeah, that's true. So how do you both, and you both can answer this one. Um, how do you feel about the state of dark fiction horror right now? Good, getting better, getting worse? What do you think?
I try to only say positive things publicly. So
Okay.
I think um, one thing I want to do, the whole reason that one of the objectives that I wanted with Nightmare Press was to create a different environment in the horror community. There's really only one or two types of styles that are getting published by the people, or that are getting any attention. And I wanted to give more attention to. I want it to be broader. So I'm hoping that it'll be in a positive light. It'll become more open to different styles like it used to be. I do think that horror fiction is gaining popularity again. In some Barnes and Nobles, they're even having sections for it.
Mhm.
A lot of people, debate on the books they put in there. Of course, there's always the idea of, is this horror? This isn't horror. And you know what? Horror is tough to define anyway. I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
so you can't just, you got too many people out there that want to gatekeep what horror is. And I mean, you really can't. So I mean, it's different to everybody. So I think we should all just be happy that it's getting a little bit more notoriety.
Uh, couldn't agree more. It's a wonderful genre, and I appreciate what you're doing to help it progress. You know what I mean? Because every genre, when you think about it, evolves, into certain points. And I think we talked about this last time, like where romance was couple decades ago or a decade ago was in the Twilight era. And
Mhm.
then in that same 2010s, you had 50 Shades at the end. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
always sort of evolving multiple genres. The
Romance
big
has really grown on the indie level too. Like a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of romance authors self-publish, and they're making more money than a lot of authors who end up with big trade contracts and books.
Yeah,
They're doing very well.
absolutely. My co-host on my other show is a young adult. Her masterpiece, if you want to call it, is a young adult series, romance series, and you know she's self-published. She got her name out there. She's done very well, but you're right. Publishers didn't want to touch it because the young adult genre now is fairies. We don't want UFO. We don't want alien human hybrids. We want fairies.
Yeah, big
And
tech companies, they don't take the risks they used to.
No.
no, no. And it's all about getting in front of the right person too.
No.
These cold emails and things like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like how many of them are even given a chance? I mean, everybody gets annoyed with spam, right? Even I
Yeah,
do. So
yeah,
imagine, if somebody's trying to pitch their book, they're already on a bad foot that way. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about your area. Um, have you written any nonfiction books about some of the stuff that's going on in Appalachia? Some of the paranormal stories, cryptid stories, anything like that?
yeah. We have our first book together was Louisville's Strange and Unusual Haunts. It's currently out of print, but we're going to republish it. Same thing with a book called Kentucky's Haunted Mansions. But currently,
Cool.
we have a book called Kentucky Strange and Unusual Haunts, which encompasses the entire state, and it's got almost 100 stories in it from around here. We left, and that's even after leaving out a lot of the Louisville ones because of our Louisville book. Now, of course, we got Waverly in there because you can't write a
Yeah.
Kentucky haunt book without Waverly. But other than that, but it's like, yeah, we got that out. We got Aliens Over Kentucky, which is about different extraterrestrial encounters. I think that's it for Kentucky, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, yeah, it's always special to start with your hometown, your home area, your home state,
Most
and get a
definitely.
feel around that. It's amazing. I does Kentucky have like a big paranormal like festival, parade, something, convention, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's tied to horror conventions and
We're
too.
actually going to it this weekend.
Yeah, we have 2
Yeah.
actually. There's one. Well, actually one of them's in New Albany, so I guess it's not the same.
Oh,
but that's
Lexington.
to us here in Louisville. They call that the Kentuckiana area.
I know, right?
So New Albany, we still consider that local. So yeah, we got Witches Market there. But yeah, in Lexington, there's this monthly event called the Central Kentucky Mystical Market, and we're going to that this Sunday, and they have all kinds of paranormal and metaphysical vendors there and such.
Yeah, and
Pretty cool.
they have Scarefest is kind of like the big paranormal / horror. It's the same people.
Same people own that own the mystical market.
That's really cool. I love when towns and areas really hold on to that. You know what I mean, and really push it. Same thing for like Loveland. They have the Frogman Parade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know
And
that.
That's one of my. That's one
My
of my.
cousin's from that area.
That's one of my favorite.
Oh, okay. I love that. I had her name's Lauren Connolly. She directed the Frogman documentary.
Cool.
And she I had her on the show. I had her on my other show as well. She was talking about her local area, which is Loveland, and all of the things like the diner that you have, the Frogman, you know what I mean, like statues and things like that, and the parade.
Yeah.
The festival. It made it sound like a good time. And that one's relatively new, I think, correct? Like it's not been around very long.
Yeah, my cousin was telling me about it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta look this up." I think it's new because years ago I never heard of it. So
I remember the first time I read about the Loveland Frog. I was like, "This is the coolest urban legend I've ever heard."
yeah,
I just now heard about this very second. I just now heard about the festival when you were talking.
I thought I told you.
No,
I want to go to it now.
I always hold a special place for like the weird cryptids. When you're brought into the cryptid world, you know what I mean? You got Bigfoot, you got Loch Ness, you know what I mean?
Loch Ness.
Yeah, and then you got like skinwalkers are like the next level, and Wendigo and things like that. And then there's like here's this thing with a body of a man, but also a frog, and you're like, I would not. That sounds wild to me.
He's the one that supposedly had the magic wand too, or something.
Yeah. He was seen in the 60s. And then nothing again. Then there was a sort of report about somebody who took a photo of it in like 2017 right there. But the town just, it's a claim to fame. And if I was like living in a really small town and we had something like that, I would be all for that too. But it probably gets old after a while.
All these out here in Louisville. I mean, something like that out here.
Yeah. They have one. Oh, another one. Now I'm not a big geography guy, but how far away from you is Point Pleasant? So Mothman's Festival.
About 3.5 hours. We've been there.
We love it.
Yeah.
Oh, you love it? Okay, give me a story from that.
Well, just going out there. We just went out there to visit the Mothman Museum, but it's a really neat town. Unfortunately, most of the stuff's closed down. The only thing keeping it open probably is the Mothman, but it's really interesting.
I wandered into a building. Apparently, it was a hotel, and the guy lived there. And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, the guy running the hotel lives there, I believe.
I was like,
Yeah.
But it's
like, hi.
It's the same. It's the same hotel, I think, where the guy who wrote the Mothman book stayed during all that.
That was neat.
That's right.
And it's funny because they have pictures of like Men in Black type characters around town back then from the 60s. So I'm not saying I believe the whole story, but something was going on.
Something was happening.
Because it was weird. And like, why would people from like the Red Cross make up the stuff, anything like that? Say, oh yeah, he landed on our truck. Why would they make that up? They're the Red Cross. They don't have any reason to. So
right.
It's peculiar, that's for sure.
To me, my opinion, I think Mothman isn't like a flesh and blood cryptid like how others claim, like maybe Bigfoot is, right? I think it's more of a spiritual entity that way to warn people, you know what I mean, of like a harbinger of doom, but they're trying to warn people. So a good one, So I think, because the bridge collapsed right there. The bridge
Yeah.
collapsed, and a lot more people could have died than what it was. And he took time out of his schedule, Mothman, to haunt Richard Gere for in the
Yeah.
90s, if you remember
Yeah.
that. That's always fun. But if you, and I'm gonna promote another show, but whatever, it's fine. But have you guys seen the latest season of Unsolved Mysteries that just came out?
No, we
No?
we actually dedicated a book based on the old Unsolved Mysteries to my mom. She passed away of cancer, and that was her favorite series. We covered everything,
We covered several stories. It's called Strange and Unusual Mysteries.
Yeah.
And we did a follow-up to certain stories they did on that show to see if any new evidence had come to light. My favorite is probably D.B. Cooper.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
D.B. Cooper, yeah. I mean, he's weird enough to be a cryptid in and of his own. You know what I mean? He fits the criteria. People saw him. He's gone. No one can find him.
I thought it was funny that
checked a lot of the cryptids.
In the Loki television show, they made it like it was Loki who was D.B. Cooper.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you remember the show from the early 2000s, Prison Break. They tried to make one of their guys D.B. Cooper that was in the prison.
I remember the show, but I never watched it.
It was like it was on random channel. I stopped by and saw it, and the guys talk about DB Cooper. So I hear DB Cooper, I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing whenever somebody's talking about that case. And yeah, it was crazy. So Nicole, so here's a funny story. I just remembered. Great job, Nicole. There was on the newer season, and I won't give all of it away, but there was a young woman who was a murdered college student. It broke into one of the campus art buildings. Wanted to. She was on the stage. She was murdered on the stage. It's sad, but she was playing the piano. Nobody could find anything. You know what I mean? There was no footprints in the blood. It was a stabbing, so a lot of that. And they had no leads. They had nothing. It was a long time ago. Nicole can remote view and is an avid remote viewer. And I like to be annoying and be like, oh, yeah, remote view this. Oh, yeah, remote view that. And every time I do, she gets remarkably accurate results. Well, anyway, I told her to do this case. She had not watched the show. I said, put yourself in there, and who was it? And she said the custodian, who only if you watched or read about this random case would you know that the custodian was a person of interest, never got followed up on, got released from, got fired for substance abuse, and nobody ever, and he ended up dying a few years later and never got his proper questioning or anything like that. So I just wanted to drop that in there, that was a pretty cool story for that. Yeah. But anyway, getting back to why I brought up Unsolved Mysteries was there's apparently more Mothman sightings and newer Mothman sightings from 2018 on, not in Point Pleasant, a little bit bigger town, Chicago. And I was like, I gotta read that. And yeah, apparently there's a bunch of people around there who are seeing the telltale signs of Mothman, humanoid, flying, red eyes, the screech, all of that kind of stuff. So put that on your binge list.
Definitely.
There was mostly a Kentucky Mothman
in Elizabethtown.
Really?
And when hanging on a bridge somewhere, I think. But we never followed up completely on that story.
We're not that far away from Elizabethtown either.
Yeah, we only live about 40 minutes.
An hour or so?
Yeah, if that, if depending on traffic, yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, but you got to think, man, Chicago, he's not doing himself any favors if he's trying to stay hidden.
Yeah, it's not exactly a place to hide if you're recognizable.
Yeah, I mean, who's not going to notice an 8 foot tall thing with humanoid with wings and red eyes and can fly? I would snitch on him. I would tell him. I would call the police.
I think everybody would. With all the phones nowadays, there'd be 1,000 pictures, 1,000 videos.
That's exactly right. Unless there's a net out there that when you try to post it, it has to go through a certain NSA net. But that's just me being conspiracy.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the time, guys. Please take the next couple minutes, promote anything that you want. It's been a pleasure. Go ahead.
Well, we pretty much talked about all the things we've got coming out.
Death and Lipstick. Jenny is Strange and Unusual, and your notebook. Tell them.
Well, it's called Hearts in the Hourglass, but I don't know when it's coming out. The books that I'm working on. There's one book out now called The Vermin Sleep by James M. Watson. It's doing very well. It's getting some good notoriety. We got one on pre-order that's getting ready to come out on the 23rd called A Chance in Hell, an Ava Edison heist. And it's kind of like a cult detective story.
Awesome. And I'm going to put in the chat your Nightmare Press on Facebook. Do you have an Anubis Press page or just Nightmare?
We do, but
we're trying to make it in one.
Eventually, we don't.
Okay, so I'll put Nightmare Press on Facebook. Give them a follow. Everything here.
We got our
you have your website too, nightmarepress.net, correct?
Yes.
Nightmarepress.net.
We're still working on it too.
Okay, great. And people can go there to buy your books as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. You have an open invite anytime. Anytime a new book's coming out, please come on. We'll talk about newest Mothman things and your books.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good one. And for everyone listening, we are going to go to commercial. So thank you.
Four in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of you believe demons exist. We invite you to Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news show. If it's unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, we're talking about it. Exploring the unexplained, challenging the conventional, and diving deep into the shadows that lurk just beyond our perception. Come join the transmission on the United Public Radio Network. Once you come, you'll never be the same.
Read it today.
Do you want to reach millions with your product or service? Are you looking to connect with a diverse, intelligent, and engaged audience? Then look no further. Beyond the Radar Radio Show is your golden ticket to achieving just that. Our listeners are curious, open-minded, and always eager to learn. They value quality, authenticity, and innovation, just like your brand. With Beyond the Radar, by millions of dedicated listeners, our show covers a wide range of topics, attracting a diverse audience that could be your next loyal customers. So why wait? Take your brand to Beyond the Radar and into the hearts and minds of millions. Advertise with us. Let's explore the extraordinary together. Beyond the Radar Radio Show, where your brand meets a world of curious minds. Contact us today for advertising opportunities at www.beyondtheradarnews.com and fill out our contact form. We hope to talk to you soon.
Samantha survives a tragic accident thanks to Lucian, an enigmatic being. Her newfound abilities catch the attention of a secretive government agency. Drawn to Lucian despite the danger, Samantha is unaware of his true identity. She teams up with Lucian's brothers in a daring mission to rescue him. Accused unfairly, Lucian seeks refuge on his distant homeworld. Can Samantha prove Lucian's innocence and save their forbidden love? From the Sky by J.E. Nicasio. Available now. Get your copy on Amazon and BNN.
Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what lies beyond? Have you ever felt a sense of curiosity about mysterious lights darting across the sky? If so, my UFO 101 Unveiling the Unknown course is just for you. This course is a comprehensive introduction into the fascinating world of unidentified flying objects and extraterrestrial life. It is designed for beginners so no prior knowledge is required. I'm your instructor, Tom. I'm an author, podcast host, and seasoned researcher in the field, ready to debunk common myths and misconceptions. So are you ready to embark on an exciting journey to unravel the secrets of the universe? Join us at UFO 101, Unveiling the Unknown, and let's explore the unknown together. Don't let this free opportunity fly away. Enroll now and start your journey into the intriguing world of UFOs and extraterrestrial life.
So why do you want to investigate Skinwalker Ranch?
Are you kidding? It's Skinwalker Ranch.
The Uinta Basin is one of the most fascinating places on Earth, and it's also one of the most investigated places on Earth.
Like every time I've watched a documentary, it always draws me to want to go there even more.
Whether you're looking for paranormal, UFO, cryptids, skinwalkers, and probably a whole lot more.
This is what interests me the most. Never has an investigation been so technologically advanced.
I've personally spent years reading and watching anything that had to do with the Uinta Basin. The Uinta Basin has everything. Highly advanced cameras or highly advanced recording devices, night vision drones. I believe we can use all of those things.
Night vision goggles that we can see at night because we're going to be up all night.
And putting it in a documentary so the world can see how technology can assist us in the hunt of paranormal research.
Cameras just on every site. So we can always have that angle if we need it.
Out of all of the paranormal activity on Skinwalker Ranch, portals, UFOs, cryptid, what interests me the most has to be the cryptids. I'm a monster guy. I want to go see, I want to go check out, I want to find evidence of a monster, of cryptids, of an entity.
In conjunction with the right experiments to really find out a little bit more about what the Uinta Basin is hiding.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much to the Floyds for that wonderful interview. Thank you all to be wonderful listeners, guests. Please share the link. Please share it. Let's help Beyond the Radar grow. And now, something we want to get into is our Summer of Species. This week, we're going to be talking about little green men. And little green men is probably a derogatory word for UFOs if we were to talk about that, or extraterrestrials. But let me just get into it. Little green men is the stereotypical portrayal of extraterrestrials as little humanoid creatures with green skin and sometimes have antennas on their head. The term is often used to describe gremlins, mystical creatures known for causing problems in airplanes and mechanical devices. The usage of the term predates the 1955 incident, for example, in England, with a reference to little green men or children that date back to the 12th century green children of the wool pit. Folklore researcher Chris Albeck used electronic searches of old newspapers and found a number of instances dating from around the turn of the 20th century referring to green aliens. Albeck found one story from 1899 in the Atlanta Constitution about little green skinned alien, I should say, in a tale called Green Boy from Hurrah. Hurrah was another planet, perhaps Mars, and he referenced that the green men of Mars and green Martian women in his first scientific novel, A Princess of Mars. However, there's been references to real life cases such as little green men. And that became a popular term in the reports of the flying saucer in the 1950s in the case of the Kelly Hopkinsville sighting. And I will get into the Kelly Hopkinsville sighting. The Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, known as the Hopkinsville Goblin case or the Kelly Green Men case, was a claim of a close encounter with extraterrestrial beings that occurred near the communities of Kelly and Hopkinsville in Christian County, Kentucky. During the night and the early morning of August 21st, 22nd, 1955, ufologists regard this as the most significant and well-documented case of UFO incidents, while skeptics say the reports were due to the effect of excitement and misidentification of natural phenomena such as meteors and owls. The United States Air Force, however, classified the alleged incident as a hoax in their Project Blue Book files. On the evening of August 21st, 1955, 5 adults and 7 children, so 12 people total, at the Hopkinsville police station claimed that a small alien creature, or small alien creatures, I should say, from a spaceship were attacking their farmhouse, and that they have been holding them off with gunfire for nearly 4 hours. 2 of the adults, Elmer Sutton and Billy Ray Taylor, claimed they had been shooting at a few short, dark figures who repeatedly popped up at the doorway and peered into the windows. The Kentucky New Era was the first paper to report the incident and amplified the number from 12 to 15, and that number continues to be reported. Concerned about a possible gun battle between local citizens, 4 city police officers, 5 state troopers, and 3 deputy sheriffs, as well as 4 military police officers from the nearby United States Army Fort Campbell, drove to the Sutton farmhouse located in the town of Kelly in Christian County. Their search yielded nothing apart from the evidence of gunfire and holes in windows and door screens made by the firearms. Residents of the farmhouse included Glennie Langford, her children Lonnie Charlton and Mary, 2 sons from a previous marriage, Elmer Sutton and John Charlie, or J.C. Sutton, their respective wives, Vera and Aline's brother, O.P. Baker, Billy Ray Taylor, and his wife June. Both the Taylors, Lucky and Vera Sutton, were reportedly carnival workers and were visiting the farmhouse. The next day, the neighbors told the officers that the family had packed up and left after claiming the creatures returned about 3:30 in the morning as well. The family's claims had received widespread coverage in the local and national press. Early articles did not refer to little green men. The color that was added later to newspaper stories. And estimates of the size of these alleged creatures were 2 to 4 feet tall. And the details, such as large, pointed ears, claw-like hands, and eyes that glowed yellow with spindly legs. Many refer to these creatures as possibly being green-horned owls, and the creatures floated through the trees and were popping up in the house and confusing the intoxicated family. So that was the story of the little green men. That was the story of Kelly Hopkinsville. And little green men you don't really hear about. You hear about the Greys, you hear about all the other reptilians, Palladians, you name it, you hear a lot. Little green men, I think, are a generic term. I don't believe they might be their own species. This case is famous. I mean, if Project Blue Book studied it at all or researched it at all, it had to be famous. That's an Army investigation. They're not going to take any of the less credible stories with them. So I think little green men were just a term for the Greys. And I do believe that this family was hunted almost by these creatures for abduction. And maybe when they started fighting back is when the UFO creatures, the aliens, said, "This isn't worth it. I'm out." And turned around, left. Maybe they tried to come back when they thought they were sleeping. But for the family to pack up and leave lends incredible credibility to this, in my opinion, because who just uprights and abandons their house? You can make all the excuses you want, but the comfort factor of getting up and leaving, they packed up through the night and they left and they never returned. Not for nothing. That has to be worth something. So that was our show. That was Beyond the Radar. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We have been broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UPRN, and the UFO Radio Network. And please check out past episodes on Spotify as well. Everybody have a great night and stay weird. Thank you all.